All right, so one of the first things we want to do when we're starting Wevideo is make sure we're logged into our Gmail, or at least that we're logged into Chrome. If you're not sure what that means, you click on your little picture up here in the corner, and it should look like this. If it says log in or sign in, you may need to do that, because otherwise you're going to have a hard time getting into Wevideo. Now I'm just going to open up a new tab, type in Wevideo, okay? And I've been there before. It figures that's where I want to go. It kind of finished it for me. And you should get to a page that looks like this. Yours might look a little different because I'm a teacher and I've done a lot of work on Wevideo, but I bet it looks something like this. And there's a sign in. You're going to sign in with Google. Don't type in your email in all these boxes. That's a waste of time. Click here and it'll ask which account. Maybe it won't even ask you that. I use more than one Gmail account, but of course I'm going to use my rockyhillps.com one. That's probably the only account you have open. And actually, again, a lot of this stuff here, you probably won't see if you've never used Wevideo before. I know some of you may have done it in the past, and if you did, you might see some of your previous activities in there, and that's okay, all right? But once again, it should say something like, hi, Stephen, or hi, Mary, or whatever your name is there, okay? And this, again, up here might look slightly different to you, all right? But I'm going to go into projects. And I've already made a few folders here. There's a plus sign down in the bottom that says create new project. Hopefully you can see that down here in the bottom right corner. I'm going to click on that. And it might ask me something like to title it. And I'm going to say test number 1. And you don't have to worry about this. Now, once again, people, if yours doesn't look like this, don't lose your mind. Just try to make it so you can start doing a video. I'm going to add my media later and create a video. This is what we want. So whatever it takes for you to get to the point where you have this timeline here and this screen over here and all these folders over here, that's what you have to do. So you may have to click on a whole bunch of buttons, and if you do, well, you know what that's called? Learning. If you push on the wrong button, I don't think you're going to blow up your computer. You just might have to start over. Okay? So here I am in a Wevideo, what we call timeline or dashboard. Actually, I guess that's the dashboard where all the tools are. This is where I can do my work. All right? So there's a lot of... All right, so here we are in our workspace here in Wevideo. And again, I'm here where it says My Media. And I have all sorts of media, but you probably don't have any yet unless you uploaded some in the past. So let's click over here a little bit higher next to Dashboard. We've already been there. And we're in Projects now, and we're working on our project. If you click on Media here, and once again, whoa, Mr. Pat, you got a lot of media here. I've got folders full of stuff. I've got all sorts of little videos, bad hair days, and all sorts of things going on here. There should be a plus button down at the bottom here. You should at least see that. If you click on Import, it says Browse to Select. Now, there's two things you can do. You can either download things onto your computer and then upload them to Wevideo. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But we also have anything from our Google Drive. I clicked down there. And let's see. I've got pics. Got a folder in my Google Drive. All sorts of pictures there. And I'll just pick this one here. And it tells me that it's working on it. Might take a while. Remember, Wevideo is in California, so you're asking something in Rocky Hill. It goes across the internet to California, and then it does it there, and then sends it back to you where you're sitting in Rocky Hill. It might take a minute. So I can see the photo here. Again, if you've never uploaded any new media, it'll probably be the only thing up here. But it usually shows somewhere near the top. So let me go back into projects. There's my test number 1. Once again, you might not have other videos here. You do whatever it takes to get back to it. All right. And now, because I'm still in my media here up in the top corner, now that picture that I just uploaded is there. And if I click and hold and drag it down, I'm going to drag it down onto my line here, video 1. And that's where my 0 starts. And up here's my timeline. I'm going to drag it out to 15 seconds. You can see how I'm clicking and holding and pulling right around 15. That's close enough. 15:02. Close enough. All right. So that is how you get a photo in here. And if I were to hit play over here, well, Mr. Pat, that's not that exciting of a video. It's a video of a still photograph. Big deal. It might as well be a slideshow. Okay. So we should do something a little more interesting with this photo. All right. When I click on the photo, you'll see there's these toolbars here that have all sorts of options. This one that has the line with the two little dots at the end, if I click on that guy, it's this thing called opacity. Opacity is how much of the thing you see it, how transparent is it? And you might have heard of things fading in and out. All right, so if I backspace here, oh, darn it. If I click on that and I click there and I put in a 3 seconds, and I click over here and I put in a 3 for 3 seconds, you can see it put little lines here. This is how it's going to fade in. It'll be at 100% opacity then, and then it'll fade out. Okay, so I click like that. Watch the video. When I click from the beginning, I brought this thing back to 0. Watch. See how it faded in? And now it's going to take a long time before it fades out because I have that for about 15 seconds. And now it's going to get fainter and fainter until it fades away. That is fading in and fading out. Now, oops, I can change this just by clicking on this line, and I can make it fade in for a longer period of time. I can go like that, and it'll be slightly different. It'll take longer for it to fade in. Watch. That was much slower than the last time, and it's still not 100%. You look over here. There, it's at 100%. And now it's going to start fading down again. Okay? So your job, go import a photo. You have to click on media. Here, I'm going to save my changes. I'm going to go to media, click on the plus sign, and go to either Google Classroom, Google Drive, and pick a photo from your Google Drive, or you can browse to select. And if you have photos in your downloads or anything like that, I don't happen to have any at the moment. Here, I got something called pictures. That could be interesting. Here. It's a picture of my old friend, Mr. Avery. And that picture should appear in my media files in just a second. Done. There's Mr. A. Okay. So now if I were to go back into projects, my video, test 1. You've got this thing here. I could also bring in Mr. Avery's picture. All right. So there it is. All right. So just a couple of quick things that I already know how to do, but you might not know. And so it's not fair if I'm going along and you're thinking like, wait, how did he do that? Okay. Here's that photo I uploaded already. You're thinking, wait a minute, that's way bigger than it was before. The photo stopped over here. Let's look at this timeline. That's 1 second, 0.0023 seconds before. So what happened is this is just a zoomed in picture of a image of that photo. Down here is the zoom control. Watch, I can make it super big, or I can zoom it down to where it's small. That's where it was before when we saw it stop at 15. When things are really small, it's very easy to put multiple things into the same line. I'll grab this second picture I uploaded of Mr. Avery, put it down there. I'll stretch him out from 15 to say 25, give him at least 10 seconds of notoriety. Same task I did before, open the opacity items. And instead of clicking in the numbers here, if I just click on this green line, I can put dots in here. And those dots are the ones I can move around. And here's the thing, what you might have noticed is that was a little tricky for me to do because it was a little small. If I zoom in, and then I have a little scroller bar down here, it makes it a little easier for me to see what I'm doing when I want to work on one particular small frame, okay? And then I can zoom back out so I can see all of these things at once, all right? So here I'll watch the end of that photo. It fades out. Mr. A is going to fade in. It faded in kind of fast. Maybe I'll move that. I can just click and drag these guys. I can click and drag these guys. Come on, guys. Drag and there we go. There, that's a better fade in. So this guy down here in the corner, this zoom bar, I use all the time when I'm working on Wevideo. If I want to make it bigger, I move it to the plus side, and it gives me this scroller bar here where I can move around. It allows me to see more details. And generally speaking, I keep it all the way to the end here on the minus side. Okay, so that's zooming for you. All right, so maybe you're thinking to yourself, okay, Mr. Pat, that's cool. You have photos in your Google Drive and you have photos in your picture folder on your computer, but I don't have those photos, or I don't have the photo I want. I want to have photos of puppies in my Wevideo. So here's what you would do. You would go and open a new tab, and you could just Google puppies, because who doesn't love puppies? And you probably want to click on images. Oh, look at that cute little dude. Oh my goodness. All right. So when you see a picture like this that you want, if you right click on it and you save image as, and I'm going to save it in my download folders. On your Chromebook, probably it's just going to allow you to save. It's going to look a little differently, but you get the idea. I'm going to say puppy 1, so I know what photo it is. And I'm going to save it. And now it should be there in my downloads folder, okay? Which means I can close this out. And when I come back to Wevideo, remember our media bar up here at the top? I got to go into here. Although I think I can import media just from right here. I'll try it. Hey, it takes me to the same place. Browse to select. And it's in my downloads folder, which again is pretty much the only thing you're going to have on your Chromebook, I suppose. There it says puppy JPEG. By the way, fun fact, this thing right here, if I click and change it to icons, you'll see the actual little thumbnail sketch of it instead of list. This is the list view, and this is the image view. And so I know that's my puppy picture. I'm going to open it. And yeah, for some reason it's putting it at the bottom of my thing. Once again, that should not be a big deal for you because you won't have as many things as I do. Holy smokes, I got a lot of things. Remember Mr. Avery and my other photo were up here. This is way down at the bottom. But either way, when you see your photo, you can click on it and drag it down here. And that way you can have a photo that you like instead of one that you already, just found somewhere in your Google Drive or in your, whatchamacallit, in your computer files, your PC files. All right, so now I've added that and I've got my puppy photo there. So that's how you upload an image to Wevideo. All right, so just in case you were wondering. So sometimes things are very obvious to a teacher and not so obvious to students. But let me say something. As I'm showing you how to do all these things like create a video project and import photos and drag them down onto a timeline and put the opacity on them and such like that, hello, you should be doing this on Wevideo. So in that first part of the video where I showed you how to open up Wevideo and log in and create a project, you should go into Wevideo and log in, make a new project. And when I show you how to drag a photo from your media down into here and how to upload things from Google Drive or the internet, go ahead and do that. This is practice. Before any soccer game, the first thing you do is warm up. So these are kind of warm-up activities, especially if you've done Wevideo before. You might think it's a little basic, but it's never a good thing to revisit, okay? So you can either open it up in a different tab and have a separate tab here, or if you're really clever, what you might want to do is try having your tabs side by side. So you can be over here on Wevideo, and on your other tab, you'll be watching these instructions, and you can watch the instructions and then come over to Wevideo, hit pause on the instruction video, then come over here and do it. But my main point is, my main point is, as I'm showing you how to do these skills, you should be doing those things. Now, you don't have to put the exact same photos as me. You don't have to have the same levels of opacity and stuff, but I want you to demonstrate these skills as I go through each section of this video, and eventually you're going to be handing in a project showing me that you know how to do all these cool things with Wevideo, okay? So if you have not started doing all these things yet, pause this video now, go back and do them all, and then you can continue with the next lesson. All right, here's the next trick. The only thing that's more boring than a still photo in a slideshow is a still photo with no sound or narration or anything. So what I'm going to do is, since this first photo here is already 15 seconds long, I'm just going to move these guys over and get them out of the way. I suppose I could delete them because they're still in my media files up here somewhere. I should be able to find the photo again if I need them. There's Mr. Avery, and I think the puppy's way down at the bottom. There it is. So you know what? What the heck? I'll click here and delete, and I'll click here and delete, and now I'm back to that just original photo. Maybe I'll even zoom in a little bit so that it looks a little bit bigger to me. Okay? So now 15 seconds has taken up a better part of my screen. So hey, I want there to be some background music. So if I click over here on audio, remember I've been in my media, right? I'm going to click in audio. When I click there, you'll see all these different audio files. There looks like there's a bunch of them. Okay. So I'm just going to, let's see, is there any, let's see, upbeat? No, I don't want upbeat. Yeah, we'll grab this one. What the hey? Okay. And so I just clicked and dragged it. And you can see, obviously, that looks different than a photograph. These little squiggles here are the sound waves. So you can tell that there's music going on there. And if I hit play, and you watch up here in the corner, so there's my slide. The people will believe what the media tells them they believe. Something a famous author once said. And then it fades out. Now, wait a minute. Now my music keeps on going, keeps on going, keeps on going. Okay? When you drag in an audio track, it's pretty long. Here, when I zoom it back down, this audio track's almost 1 minute and 50 seconds. My photo is only 15 seconds. So I'm going to make sure I'm in this track here. You see how it's kind of highlighted, has those orange bars. And I'm going to click this little scissor here. And I can move this away and delete it. So that's how you trim an audio clip. Now let's zoom in a little bit more so I can work with this. Remember those little bars here, the fade in, fade out, or what we call opacity bars? Guess what? Same thing on an audio track. So I can do the 3-second thing again. 3-second thing again. And the music should fade in and out. Watch, it's starting at 0, just like the photograph. Watch up here. This is pretty cool on the video. Watch. Now the music is louder. The photo is almost 100% faded in. Now at the end, I don't want the music just to stop abruptly. It fades out nice and quietly. All right. Once again, I can just click on the line and move these guys. If I want my fade out to be longer, if I want my fade in to be longer, I can move these guys here. All right. Also, in the middle of a track, you may want the music to go down. You may want it to get quiet. Oop, you may want it to get quiet. You can zoom it back down. So watch this. There's the sound. It's going to fade out in the middle and then come back. Now, maybe in that middle part there, I wanted to say something on my microphone, and that would be a good reason to do that. But anyway, next step, go to your audio files, grab one, drag it down here, trim it down to the size of your first photograph. You can get rid of those other photographs if you've used them, and use your fade in and fade out feature so that the music fades in and fades out. You should be able to see these lines, and when you play it, you should see it all fading in rather than the music starting right away. In fact, here, I'll start it with it all the way up. Watch. See there, the music was all the way up right from the start. But if I change the opacity, or I'm sorry, not the opacity, that would be the volume. Come on, you stinker. There we go. Bring it back to here. Now it's going to be really quiet at first, eventually getting louder to full volume. Okay? Try it yourself. So now I'm going to show you something pretty cool you can do with that photo, because let's face it, other than fading in and out, this photo is exactly the same the whole time that you're working on it. You know, that's kind of boring. And there's a very famous filmmaker named Ken Burns, and he does historical documentaries And he was doing something on the Civil War. Of course, there's no video of the Civil War. It was from the 1860s. He's lucky there were photographs. What he found he could do with his photos, though, were if he made the photo move a little bit across the screen and change size just a little bit, it kind of gave it the illusion of moving. So if I go over here down on my timeline and I double click on the photo, it'll probably take you to this first, okay? And I think you'll be able to see up here all of these different effects you can do. And we'll talk about some of those more later. But on the second one here, it says animation, right there. And so the start frame is, you're just going to leave that alone. That's where it starts. But if you click over here on the end frame, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to click and move this guy over and to my right. And this scale thing here, I'm going to scale it back to maybe 75%, close to that. And then I'm going to click play and watch what happens. It's kind of a little preview. See how the photo is creeping along here and moving slightly? It just makes it a little more interesting. It's going to make your viewers want to keep watching rather than just staring at a still photo for 15 seconds. So I'm going to click Save Changes. And now if I go way back to the beginning and I hit play, I've got that Ken Burns effect. Used to pay a lot of money for that back in the 90s. And then it still fades out. The music still fades out. And that's a much more interesting thing. So try that with your photograph, please. So we've already learned a lot of skills, and we're doing some pretty interesting things with this still photograph, with the Ken Burns effect, and with the fade in and the music and all that other business. But what we should really have is a title. And so if we go up here, and you'll see next to audio, there's a thing called text. And there's motion titles. I'd like you to start with static. Static means, right here where it says static, that means non-moving titles. And we'll get into motion titles later. But if I grab this one here, it just says sample text, and I click and I hold, and I kind of drag it down on the same line as my photograph, and I let go. It says insert and push. It's basically saying, hey, do you want me to shove over this photograph so there's space for these titles to go? And I'm going to say yes. And you see how it shoved that over? Okay, now my photograph is over here. Now the problem is my music is now too short. Maybe I need to grab my music here and drag it out to, now I'm at 23 seconds. Before I was at 15 seconds, which 23 minus 15, what's that mean? This is an 8-second title. Ooh, my math is good, okay? So if I want to play around with this title, by the way, if I don't do anything to the title, all the title says is sample text. That's pretty weak, right? So here's what I want you to do. Double click on it. And it'll take you into, and it went right into the animation mode. See over here on that second tab there? I want to be on this one. So I'm going to click there. And instead of sample text, I'm going to say, Mr. Catarini's first Wevideo project. Okay? And I might even say period 1 or whatever class you're in. Now, right now you're going, okay, look over here in the thing. It's a little big. I can either move my box. I can change the size of the text by moving this scroller here. So if I wanted to fit more words in, okay. I can change the style of the text over here. I can change it to that sort of font, or I can change it to that sort of font. I kind of like that, okay. Let's see, let's over here, I've got bolding. I've got italics next to it. That's kind of cool. I can underline it. No, I'm not going to underline it. I can change the color, make it red. I can make the background a color. Oh yeah, that's just kind of shadowing. I'm going to make that none, I think. Uh-oh. It's not letting me do that, huh? Okay. Anyway, let's see. I can make my background like this. I know that's background. There you go. Okay. So little changes I can make. Line height I can change. I can change the spacing. Oops. Come on, you. Oh, maybe it's not letting me because I've already got a font picked. Okay. And I can also move this text box around. I can move it over here. But I'll leave it put for now. Right in the center is nice. And when I click Save Changes, I now have that at the beginning of my video. So let's hit play. All right, I mean, that's cool, but knowing what we already know, having worked on these photos, let's fade it in and fade it out. I can either use the number boxes or I can drag these guys here. So I've got that opacity thing going on. Fades in. The music gets louder. Then it fades out. And then my photo fades in and starts moving across the screen like that. I wonder if I can make my title move across the screen like that. That'd be a pretty cool thing to do. Look at that. Not a bad little video considering I've only been doing this for a little bit. Let's double click on this guy. Click on this second one, the animation thing. Remember how we did this? We leave the start alone, we click on the end, and we make it a little smaller, and we maybe move it, and then we save changes, and now watch. Get that Ken Burns title. See how this is moving up here? Super cool. That's professional level stuff we're doing now, guys. All right. And we still haven't even gone over 30 seconds in our video. Go ahead. Bring in a title. Static. Non-moving title. Bring it in there. Change the text. Show me a change of color. Show me a change of font. Show me a change of background. Make it cool. And then fade it in, fade it out, and do the Ken Burns thing where it animates and moves across the screen like this. I know you can do it. And if you have to go back and watch other parts of the video again to teach yourself those skills, that's what this is for. This is all just practice, guys. Okay? Good luck. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about my video. I've got these titles going in here, and we know that they move like the Ken Burns effect, and that same thing with the photograph, and I've got music fading in and out, and I've uploaded photos. I learned quite a few skills already, but if you've ever watched a movie, you know if there's a title at the beginning, there's what at the end? We call them the ending credits. So up here, again, this is under static, under the text tab here, okay? There's a thing called end credits. Directed by, produced by, actor number one, actor number two. Now, I don't have to use all of those lines there, but they kind of put them in there for you empty, and you can fill in the names here. So what I'm going to do is click this guy and drag it over here. But wait, I can't really see that. I'm going to grab this scroller bar and move over a little ways. Okay. As you can guess, the first thing I'm going to do is probably fade this guy in. Come on. And once again, I can use the number boxes if I want to have a precise set of seconds that it does. So I faded that in and out. Let's watch. There's the end of my music. And there's my credits. Okay. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I want the music to go through my credits too. So I'm going to stretch my music out a little bit further. Maybe, yeah, I'll move my fading up to about there. Okay. So I've got that. At least my music is now going through the end of my credits. Now the music's getting quieter and quieter. All right, but what if we could make these credits roll? In other words, have them move up like they do in the movie, okay? First, let's fill out some of these boxes here. Oh, no, I want to be over here. Where it says directed by, well, it's directed by me. You, of course, would put your name, and you can see it changes that over here. Produced by GMS Films. That's a pretend company, okay? Scroll down a little bit. There's no actor number one. There's no, and I can backspace. There's no actor number 2, but I could say maybe something like this. Featuring quotes from George Orwell. Okay? And if I have to stretch this box, remember I can come on over here, change the size of the text, make it bigger if I want. I can change the color of the text, maybe make it blue. And if I click Save Changes, let's come back to here a little bit. There's the end of my picture, and they fade in. Now the trick is, how do I get this to scroll up? Well, if we double click on it and we go to animation, remember our start is always start, leave it alone. If we click on the end, what if we grab this guy and move it all the way up to there? And then let's try playing it. Holy snap, I was able to do it. Just like in the real movies. So, if I click Save Changes, now watch this entire video from start to finish. It's about 30 seconds long, bear with me. So here's the beginning. There's my title, changed colors and text, moved it around, fades in and out. My photo fades in. Still not quite 100% opaque. There it is. Moving across the screen, makes it interesting. Slowly fading out. My music is still strong. There's my title track moving up and my music starting to fade out. And all of that ends up being about a 31-second video, okay? So those are all the skills I want you to demonstrate for me. Do you have to have a picture with a quote of George Orwell? No, you can have a picture of a puppy or a picture of your favorite beach or, you know, the New York Yankees or something like that, whatever you want to do. But you do have to have a title. You have to change the words, put your period number in there, change the color, do something with the titles. Remember, these are static titles. You have to upload and embed a photograph from your media and drag it down into here. You've got to have audio that needs to fade in and fade out. And then you've got to do the rolling credits that move up and down like that does and have your music fade out. Okay? This is a good amount of work. None of these steps is very hard or takes very long, but I think we're on the 8th little skill that I'm teaching you in this particular video, so it might take you a little while to get this all done. When you're all done, you would click up here where it says My Video. Mr. Pat, test number 1, or whatever your teacher tells you to save it as, right? And then I would click on these little lines over here. Hopefully you see that. And just save. It probably saves on its own, but I'm not ready to take that risk yet. We'll talk more about finishing in the next lesson, okay? Good luck. All right, one more job. I actually just had you save this. Save or save as if you wanted to change the title of it, but I like Mr. Pat test number 1. You might say, you know, Billy Boone, period 3 or something like that, whatever your title should be, whatever your teacher tells you to name it as. But hey, I want to share this video. I want to get this video out of Wevideo so I can use it. Maybe I can stick it on Instagram or email it to my grandma. She'd love to see something like this that I made in school. So what you're going to do is click the finish button because we are done. We're not doing any more editing. We're happy with it. It's perfect. Click finish. Okay. Now, when you click finish, it's going to say choose a thumbnail. This one's blank. That's no good. This one is directed by. That's not very good. Oh, there we go. There's something that was on my thing. I wonder if I refresh this, whether I'll get new thumbnails. No, they're all blank. Here, let me go back to editor and click finish again. Yeah, I'm not liking that. Usually you'll get some little picture here, a photo of something from inside your timeline, which kind of helps you know what the movie's about, okay? But either way, since these are all blank, I'm just going to live with it. Your title of your video should be up here. Video only. We want to be an SD. HD takes longer and is a bigger file, so make sure you're here on SD and that you're here on video and that your title is the right video. And then the destination, that's Wevideo download, but why don't we download it to our own Google Drive as well? So click on that and then click the export button down here. So make sure you've got these two guys checked off. And then click export down here. And it may even give you a message. You don't have to keep this window open. We'll send you an email when your video is ready. Another good reason we checked in with our Google School Gmail, okay? And you can see there's actually a little bar graph here. It's taken a few minutes. This video, I think, was like about a half a minute long, so it doesn't take that long. You start getting into videos that are 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes long. The downloading and exporting, I guess is a better word for it, is a little bit longer. Okay, so when you're 100% ready, you click the finish button, and look at that. I can share it by clicking this link here. Share your export. If I just copy that link, copy link address, and email it to somebody, that'll work. Okay, but I wonder if it's already in my Google Drive. Look at that, Mr. Pat test video. Now, let's see if it worked. When I click on it, it might say still processing. Remember I talked about having to send this thing to California and California having to send it back? So it's saying, look, check back later. I mean, if you really need to see it right now, you can download it, and that'll work as well. But for getting it out of your Google Drive, you may have to wait, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe even until tomorrow for it to really work. And that's going to be important when your teacher asks you to submit your work in Google Classroom, which will be another video, okay? But that's how you finish Wevideos. You click the finish button, hello, and you pick the thumbnail that you like, and you make sure all these things, and you check off that, and you hit export, which I've already done, and it should end up in your Google Drive, and it'll look like that little red symbol with the little stripes on it. Okay, so do that, and then you're pretty much done with your first activity in Wevideo.